For the record, note Senator Francis Heyliger as present. Senator Francis Heyliger, you are recognized for your point of inquiry. One moment, Senator Francis Heyliger. Media, kindly recognize Senator Francis Heyliger's mic. Kindly proceed, Senator Francis Heyliger.
Thank you so much. Through the chair to the commissioner. One of the things you just spoke on is drainage, as my colleague just asked about. And I could just randomly move around the Virgin Islands and look at so many areas where the drainage is completely clogged up. What plan do you guys have in place to really identify all of these existing drains and keep them clear? Because clearly that is a major problem as to why these roads and asphalts are deteriorating. And this is just me as a resident moving around the community. What is your plan to clean these drainage up? Thank you.
Thank you. I'll ask Mr. Jomo McLean to respond.
Jomo McLean, Highway Program Manager. So, Senator, we have several projects in collaboration with University of the Virgin Islands. They assisted us and worked along with us in identifying all the existing culverts throughout the territory. And then we recently received a hazard mitigation grant. It's called a culvert identification and upsizing project, where we are doing the hydraulic studies and analyses to replace and where necessary, upgrade or upsize the culverts to address the current hydraulic situation for those particular areas. So we have a series of projects that are ongoing right now to replace culverts and upsize culverts that are too small.
Just quick finish up. I understand all the studies and the preparation and working with the university, but for me, a lot of this is common sense. What are you doing in the meantime with just getting somebody with a shovel to just clean them out so they could flow and do what's necessary till you guys get through all these studies? Because this is still an issue that's going on for year after year after year.
So I think
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Senator Heyliger, Derek Gabriel, Commissioner, Department of Public Works. So I think there's a couple of things that we do on the operation side to address that, right? Every year we go through and we do kind of try to find the grates, we lift them up. I mean, just this year, we had a pretty extensive project where we did in the Garden Street area, where we were cleaning out some of the guts, drainage, swales. Also, we recently issued RFPs for historic towns, where we are using ARPA funds to do a design build to repair our stormwater drainages. Because you're right, some of them have collapsed underground. So, there's a few things that we're doing on the operation side, and then again, on the engineering side, we have released some pretty comprehensive RFPs for the historic towns throughout the territory.
Okay, thank you so much. Senator Alma Francis Heyliger, you're recognized for your 5 minutes.
Thank you so much, Madam Chair. I would like to say good morning to my colleagues, the people of the territory. I hope everyone had a blessed weekend. Well, I want to take my first couple seconds to introduce these young ladies here. These are two of my interns. I had several this summer, but we have Ava Stanley and Sydney Linton. Guys, stand up so they can see you quickly. These young ladies have been working in my office and just really trying to learn a lot about the legislature. So I am all about women in politics, so look out. Okay, ladies. What I want to jump in quickly, this iWork technology, how much does it cost us on an annual or even whatever basis you guys utilize? Is there a cost? How much is it costing us? As well as what exactly does it do in regards to deciding road repairs, frequency, and what needs to be implemented?
So our initial investment in the technology was about $40,000.
Okay.
And then it cost us about $20,000 a year to keep the subscription and the program going, the software going.
Okay.
So what happened when we started the process and we got the modules up and running, iWork actually sent down some staff, and along with our DPW staff, they went to every single roadway and did assessments, captured real-time pictures, video of the roadways, and we assigned a rating system. And that's kind of how it works. It tells you basically based on your updates on the roads what needs to be addressed and when it should be addressed based on the age and quality. There's also other aspects of it, like I said, a work order function. We look at sidewalks, guardrails, signage, the whole nine.
Okay. One of the reasons why I was a little bit tardy today is yesterday I dropped in a pothole and woke up to a flat tire this morning. Needless to say, I wasn't too happy. I think y'all are giving me gray hairs. But the roads to the people of this territory are very important. As someone that listens to the public outcry, the conversation is potholes, roads. And I'm happy that we're having this discussion, but I want to talk a little bit about the quality of the roads and the construction. Is there any type of acceptance testing that's being done to guarantee that these roads are done to quality? Because how do we ensure that when a contractor is on the job, that they're doing what is necessary to make sure that the longevity of these roads are in place?
So I'll ask Mr. Jomo McLean to respond.
Thank you.
Jomo McLean, Highway Program Manager. Thanks for the question, Senator. So on the federal aid projects, yes, there are split samples that are collected, and the contractor does his own testing, and then the samples are also sent away to Eastern Federal Lands to their lab for their acceptance testing. Like we indicated earlier this morning, the department is setting up 2 labs, one in the St. Croix district and one for the St. Thomas, St. John district, that will allow us, the department, to do our own independent acceptance assurance, quality assurance testing to verify the test results that the contractor is providing to us.
Okay. Last year, and this is to the commissioner, during my line of questioning, and even we had our own personal talks prior to, you had mentioned that it takes about, in your opinion, it would take about $100 million a year to really maintain the roads here in this territory. Do you still believe you are of that mindset if we put all the things in place to get to a specific level? That what type of numbers do you believe will be reasonable to maintain? Because clearly we're not putting $100 million a year into the roads.
So I think, thank you again, Senator Derek Gabriel, Commissioner, Department of Public Works. I think since October, we've been able to make some significant strides with our investments in the roadways. To answer your question, I feel like if we were to snap our fingers and every roadway was at a good baseline, let's say like a 4 out of 5, I think we would probably need still about $20 to $30 million a year to still invest in our roadway maintenance.
Okay. And we talk about this specific piece of legislation we're doing, and we spoke about the 2040 plan. How do you think they're going to be able to be merged in a way that one might not be conflicting with each other? Because clearly our goal is to make sure the roads are here in a way for the people, but we don't want to be passing legislation and then we still have a plan from the government side that how do we get them to coexist and still get the job done? So
I believe the answer to your question is if we follow our 2040 master plan, but we make, like, as far as like our community roads, our local roads, we take the opportunity to prioritize them around some of our larger projects. So for example, we're doing one of the projects in our TTIP is a Rappoon Hill expansion. So if we're going to be expanding Rappoon Hill, then we probably need to look at the high school stretch area, Rumor Drive, which is our center line road, making improvements there because the feeders into that expansion need to also be expanded to accommodate that. And then, of course, you're looking at on the east end with Weymouth-Reimer Highway. If you have a 4-lane highway merging into a 2-lane highway, now you're causing a traffic jam. So those are the kind of things, right, that you need to look at from your 2040 plan perspective. Also trying to figure out how you can push projects forward, like your Leonardo Trotman Drive, other things like that, just using Rappoon Hill as the example to begin to complement that major improvement.
Thank you.
Time.
Oh, my final question, Madam Chair.
You may proceed to
I
wrap up.
appreciate you. My final question has to do with potential transfer of roads to the government for assistance. You know, we have several areas where homeowners might have a pathway or a road that is deplorable and they need government assistance, but then the government says we can't really touch it because it's private. What is the procedure that is needed or necessary for them to potentially turn it over to the government? For example, like the one up in Northside, you had one out in Duno area. How do the people get help with those types of roads?
Yeah, I'll ask Mr. Jomo McLean to respond.
Okay, thank you, Jim.
Jomo McLean, Highway Program Manager. I think once the road is determined to be private, the residents of that area need to, I guess, initially have it sponsored by some senator to turn it over to the government of the Virgin Islands, along with, and then the senators could contact us in order to do an assessment of what it would take to bring that road up to some type of standard, so that there could be some funding that comes along with the transfer of that private road to become public, and not just transfer it without any type of funding to bring it up into any standards.
So much, Madam Chair, for the additional.
And if I could, Francis Heyliger, you're recognized for your 3 minutes.
Thank you. Good afternoon, colleagues, once again. I am kind of along the lines of what my colleague was speaking about, as I love the fact that I was born and raised in the Caribbean. And I don't have a problem with billboards, but I think they should be limited, and there should be specific areas, because I am not interested in, in the middle of the night, all these flashing lights. And that's not what I was born to. If I wanted to relocate to the U.S., I would have. I love where I live. So I think this piece of legislation, I understand what has to be done and what they're interested in doing, but I think there needs to be some limitations. I also believe that there needs to be some clarity between the two districts, because they're not set up the same. When you have highways in St. Croix where you could easily put a billboard, St. Thomas, sometimes our roads are so narrow, we are not set up the same. So I would also suggest amendments to be done to separate the two districts, and what is allowed in one might not be allowed in the other. And when you look at the distance between the roads, I'm sitting here visually thinking like, somebody comes in and applies and it just has a standard 10 feet. How would that look? It would look completely different depending on what road you're on. So that also needs to be amended. So I understand the intent, but I am looking at the visual of it, because I have to be a leader with vision for the future. And I am not interested in seeing billboards everywhere. So I think this piece of legislation needs quite a bit of amendments if we want to allow the digital and the other types of billboards here in the territory. But like I said, we have to amend depending on the district. We have to amend depending on what road we're going to be utilizing. It cannot be one standard number. And we have to limit how many we're going to allow in each district and the locations. That is my thought process on it. But speaking on billboards, while I have you here, I want to ask a question. I know during the last term, the laws were changed to charge $125 for billboards now, and I think it's up to 6 months. And I guess for me, I need some clarity when it comes to even myself as a politician, because as you know, we're in an election cycle. And is there some clarity between when, say, for example, I as a senator come and I pay $125 and you're telling me I'm allotted 6 months to put up this billboard, but then right after the election, the Board of Elections is telling me to take them down and you guys are telling me to take them down, but you charged me $125 for 6 months. So what is the clarity for that? Because I am one of those, if you're going to make me pay for it, you're going to give me my money's worth. So please explain that to us. I would appreciate it.
Yeah. Excuse me, Derek Gabriel, Commissioner, Department of Public Works. So from our perspective, signage, we do allow for 6 months. So, I mean, I would say, you get the full duration of your 6 months. Now, I know that the Board of Elections is a different regulatory entity that oversees elections. So, I mean, if they're telling you that, at a certain time after elections, you have to remove the signage, what I would say is back into it and go 6 months from November. And that's when you should get your permit.
But you guys don't allow for us to start earlier than the time allotted, or them.
No,
They don't allow us to start earlier, so that would not solve our problem. Would there be any room for us to switch the sign to guarantee we get our 6 months? Because or are you going to amend it for when the time is up? We only pay half price.
So I would be
I'm just
Senator.
asking because I have to come down and pay. So I'm trying to make sure, because I make sure I pay for my stuff. But that needs some serious cleaning up, because it's a problem where you're telling us to pay one thing, but then you're telling us we don't get our money's worth. But I digress. Thank you, Madam Chair, for the time.
No, yeah. So I just wanted to say, I would, Senator, is that same exact dialogue and conversation, though, that we appreciate, because those are the things that we're trying to make sure that our rules and regulations are really, they address everything, right? So we probably need to have the conversations with the Board of Elections as well and make sure that there's a special segment for campaign signs and, that covers that. So I do appreciate your suggestion.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you, Heyliger. Senator Francis Heyliger, you're recognized for your 5 minutes.
Thank you. Good afternoon once again to my colleagues, the people of the territory, central staff. My first question I want to dive into speaks to social media. Could you list specifically what platforms you guys utilize, and do you have an internal social media staff, or do you pay for a marketing organization to do that?
Good afternoon, Alani Henneman-Tadman. We have a mixture of both on the social media side. So we have people internally who provide, event information, take pictures for events or overlook something in real time to share with our PR team. But we do also have a PR contractor who assists with social media. So in terms of social media handles, we have Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Pinterest, I think are the 5.
Okay, thank you. You spoke a little bit about influencers on social media and the type of return you got from Jungle in reutilizing, having him here. Now, is there any plan to recognize or see what kind of how you can pull, like, for example, you said there was 150 engagements. Do you guys go and scour through that data to potentially engage with some of those individuals to see if they could be residual individuals that would or even want to come to the territory, or how to reach out to them? Do you guys do that type of data mining?
Yes, we do. Our social media team, as long as, especially if you tag visit USVI, then it comes back to us and we can actually answer it within the inbox or answer it in the space. The only thing is that some people pages are restricted, so you may see them comment, but you can't always give the feedback.
Okay.
But we do assess, and it is a part of the report.
Oh, excellent. Also, speaking with influencers, I know that some time back there was a discussion, I think, of a Miss Counts having a contract with tourism as an influencer. How is that contract working out? Have you seen any returns in regards to that? And if so, could you share with us what those returns are?
Alani Henneman-Tadman. Miss Counts works as part of our offshore sales team.
Okay.
She is in California, which is great for us, especially with the Texas flight. She has the ability to bridge the gap between offshore and the festival events because she has that experience in the music industry. But she's also very good in niche markets.
Okay.
So she's been assisting us with the movement of disabled travelers. And we actually hosted a group here not too long ago that she was able to set up for us, encouraging that community because they do travel as a family. So it's more people than just, an average honeymoon couple.
Okay. You spoke about partnering with Uber Soca. I think you said for 3 years.
Correct.
Why was that decision made? And have you done any analysis as to the potential return as to why you even went into that partnership in the first place?
Alani Henneman-Todman, Uber Soca media wheel is massive. And it's a staple event that has been able to gather the Caribbean from the Bahamas down to Trinidad and Tobago in one space. So it's a captive audience that puts us in the forefront of the soca feder. I don't want to say the soca feder audience. It puts us in that captive audience, and it allows us to place our brand there. Branding there solidifies that you are serious in the space.
Okay.
They are well respected, and they work with almost all the promoters on each Caribbean island who are moving and shaking in the space as well. So it puts us at a table where we are seen not just as small island, but we are seen as a major player in the festival and carnival space as well.
And the type of potential revenues, have you guys done any analysis as to what your rate of return would be?
No problem.
You could wrap up.
Sure. When we look at as reference that on one day, we had as much engagement that we had for the whole of festival with our 2 media players one day, that is already $500,000 that we did not spend, but we got that exposure.
Excellent.
So it's a win-win situation for the territory. Of course, after we do our first official event with them, we'll be able to bring back the data and show just how great it was for the economy of the USDI.
Okay. Madam Chair, may I ask my last question?
You may proceed, Senator.
Has this division of festivals, have you looked at marketing outside and not just doing things specifically with other Caribbean islands, like creating a marketing plan, let's say for China or Italy and other places like that, where you could potentially have people coming from all over the world to really understand and be a part of our culture and our festivals here? Is that those types of plans in any of the works? Thank you.
Alani Henneman-Todman, it's like you're reading my mind. We actually wanted to go to Carabana this year in Canada because that is one of our international markets. We will be there next year, and we were offered a partnership for a carnival experience in France that we are now vetting. So we are planning to market internationally as well.
Excellent. Thank you, Madam Chair, for the time.
Thank you.